So some of the examples of how we can turn third place theory and create third places into virtual spaces include some of these. One of the first ones that I've seen in my line of work effective has been virtual clubs and organizations related to academic departments, but also just to have fun for online students. For example, when I worked at a small college in Ohio during the 2020-2021 academic year, we had a lot of students that were either A, studying abroad because they couldn't make it back to America around the world, or B, students who just didn't feel safe being in large crowds, understandably either no matter if everyone was vaccinated or if they had a mask. So what the organization director and assistant decided was to create a hybrid model where some people would meet in person and would host in-person events, but majority of the club would meet virtually and hold virtual events. So for example, we would have drag time bingo that the online students would host with different students. They also had wash night events. They also had um, trivia experiences. And one of the great things I think that came out of that is that there was programming done around the clock. So for example, because we had a lot of students who were across the globe and about 10 to 12 hour difference between us, we had programs sometimes in our time 5 a.m., but their time 5 p.m. And I think that actually made students feel like they're I think it brought more awareness from other students into like sort of kind of like time differences and culture differences, but also I think it made students feel inclusive, feel like they had an inclusive organization that took, um, that took into account their differences. So luckily the organization is still doing that, but I think that's a great example of how third place theory can be made into virtual spaces. The next example of how we could do this is with communication technology. So with communication technology, we see that these are great ways for students to stay connected, not just during the length of the course, but also after the course and when they're taking other online um, class offerings through the university. This is a great way for them to connect with others, to talk about things related to class and not related to class. So maybe about job search updates from other people when there's great internships available around campus, or to kind of advise the students that if they're going to take another, let's say, online class with a particular professor, what they need to know in order to be successful. One of the ones that I like doing and using in my experience is Slack, just because it's easy to make different channels for each different discussion point. And the great thing is with the interface, you can easily switch between different organizations. Because for example, just using me, for example, I have a Slack for my grant program through my NC State email, but also have a Slack through my job as community director at UNC John Pilgrim, my UNC email, but also have one for organization I volunteer with through my personal Gmail. And with most other, I would say, um, tech communication technology, you have to sign in with a verification code. And some apps you can only have one account associated with each phone number, so that will create a big conflict. But with Slack, you just log in once with the different email, and it shows all the different channels that your email is connected to. So it just makes it easier. I think this is just a great way to have students involved in this third space so that they can exchange ideas.